Sky.
Mag-live ka. Ano, ganyan bibili natin kung marunong na si Sky. Sana pala binili ko yung Gagaroni.
We're sure you guys
Para wala tayong pag...
Excuse me.
This is for Grammy Radio. We'd like to know our status.
So yun, tuwi na tayo. Tuwi na.
Okay, wala pa tayo ng cellphone dito.
Sulitin yung pin.
21. Sky, sky.
Incognito. Yeah, I just sent you a picture that we made it all.
Dalawa yung baby.
Just underneath you, don't worry.
Last time I went on something similar to this, it was like we went into like where the animals were.
Oh, really?
It was really cool. It was with one of my friends.
it
We
like
got a
Disney?
cabin. No, it was
Just na lang yan.
What kind of animals were they? Were they lions?
there were ostriches. There was like a zebra.
Let's go!
Did I just add this?
No.
Ay, hindi away ako dahil.
Stop.
I know, I'm trying to stop.
Well, see ourselves.
Let's go!
Alrighty, hello and welcome to the Saskatoon Forestry Farm Park and Zoo, and welcome aboard the Kinsman Express 2 train. My name is Kieran, and I'll be your driver and announcer today. Please remain seated and keep all arms and legs inside the train throughout the duration of the ride. When the horn sounds, we'll be off. The first enclosure that will be coming up on our left is our raptor roost, home to our barn owl. Should be able to spot it as it likes to hang out on the back box in its enclosure. Barn owls have a white dish-like face that can often be seen visible when reflecting moonlight. On the other side of their enclosure, you'll see Reggie the red-tailed hawk and his new female companion, Mrs. Reggie. Down the path on the left, you'll find our Affinity Learning Center with fish, reptiles, and amphibians, as well as our North American porcupine rocket and our raccoon Needles. Coming up on our right will be our fallow deer. Should be able to see them as they come in a dark brown, dappled brown, or white coloration. Fallow deer are a deer species from around the Mediterranean and Europe, though they're only really found on game preserves and zoos today. On our left is our ARC exhibit, home to our snow leopard Kazi. Kazi is roughly 17 years old and came to us from Edmonton. Those snow leopards in the wild call the Himalayan mountain tops their home. They have a long, fluffy tail that can wrap all the way around their body like a scarf to help keep them warm. And instead of roaring or purring, they actually emit a scream-like growl. Coming up on our left will be our Lions Event Pavilion, where we recently hosted our 25th annual Zoo Gala. Right now, however, we're setting up for our investigation stations where you can learn all about biofacts, such things like horns, tracks, scats, antlers, skulls, and more. And coming up on our right is our prairie butterfly house, where we have native as well as exotic species of butterflies. If you head inside there, please remain on the path and do not touch the butterflies. I repeat, do not touch the butterflies. Recently, we've been having a lot of problems with the butterflies getting hurt, and we wouldn't want them to all disappear. As we come around the corner, on our left will be our elk/wapiti. Or if you're from Europe, you might even call them red deer, or even confusingly, a moose. Yes, you heard that right. In Europe, the animal we call an elk is referred to as a moose. They might be hiding on us, so we might see them later on, but otherwise these guys are called wapiti here. The males are called bucks and grow large antlers up to 6 feet long. Every year these antlers are shed and regrow, and they're actually the fastest growing bones in the world. Covering the antlers is a fuzzy substance called
Oo,
velvet.
habang summer, sumitin.
And coming up on our right is our black-tailed prairie dogs. Black-tailed prairie dogs get their name from a black tip on the end of their tail and the dog-like sounds that they make, kind of like barking.
Those are the ones that dig petals.
Black-tailed prairie dogs are called the keystone species. Keystone species means that they basically hold up their ecosystem, and without them, perhaps their whole ecosystem would collapse. In the past, when black-tailed prairie dogs were nearly hunted to extinction, things like burrowing owls, as well as black-footed ferrets, nearly disappeared. Since we haven't really been able to see our elk/wapiti, you should probably just head down this path in front of us on the dirt road. We can't take the train down there because we would have nowhere to turn around, but if you come down here, you should be able to spot them. Coming up on our right is our kune-kune pigs. Kune-kune pigs get their name from the New Zealand words fat and round, and their names are actually Tua and Puku.
Yun, kuni-kuni pig.
You see right now that our volunteer program is actually getting a chance to go in there with the kune-kune pigs.
Yun, pinalabas. Ayun.
Pumasok na pwede na.
Pwede pala, pero mga volunteer yata yan sila.
Hindi, kailangan tao lang.
Kailangan may
On our left is going to be our bison, not buffalo. Buffalo are only found in Asia and Africa. Bison, however, have the scientific name bison and creatively a subspecies called bison.
You happy?
Bison are the heaviest land animals in North America and can reach up to 2,000 pounds in body weight. Previously, they used to number close to the millions, though due to overhunting during the fur trade, they were nearly wiped out. Recently, however, their population has started to come back, but it's unlikely to ever fully recover. In our bison enclosure there, you might be able to spot our white bison, Dante. Dante is just his coloration and his large size because he's part Charolais cow. Coming up on our right are our creatively named bighorn sheep, which get their name from, you guessed it, their big horns. The males have large curved horns and are called rams. The females have short, straight horns and are called ewes, though I promise they're not gross.
Saan na
Horns
sila,
are
baby?
essentially just
Nawala.
hard hair because they're made of the same stuff as our hair or
Doon sila sa
fingernails.
kabila, no?
Horns are also not really shed by animals throughout their life, whereas antlers are shed every single year and made out of bone. Coming up on our right through this mesh fence, you might be able to take a sneak peek at some of our other animals. You might get to see our mountain goats there up against the fence. We also have pygmy goats and a Turkmenian markhor. Speaking of our mountain goats, though, we have 3 of them. Their names are Whitney, Temple, and Edith Cavell, named after 3 Canadian Rocky Mountains. Mountain goats are excellent climbers, which they use to escape predators, and they're often found higher on the mountain than any other animal will go.
Mountain goat. Saan na
If you
sila
wanted to see those
nagtatago?
mountain goats, a better view of our pygmy goats and Turkmenian markhor, please just take right down this path. But we're going to turn our attention to the enclosure coming up on our left, home to our pronghorns. Pronghorns are not antelopes and are a species totally unique to North America. Pronghorns get their name because of the forward-facing prongs on their horn, and they're actually the only horned animal to shed
Yan
their
ako nga,
horns.
baby. Unzoom.
They're also the fastest land animal in North America and can run at speeds up to 100 kilometers an hour. In front of us is our pond, where you'll see many ducks and geese. Later in the summer, you can do our pond dipping program, where you can learn all about what lives on and in the pond. Looks like we're just going to have to wait for these geese to cross our path, and we'll continue. Up this hill on our left, you'll find our woodland caribou. Caribou are the same animal as a reindeer, just matters where you live as to what you might call them. We have 3 males and 3 females. Good luck telling them apart, however, because both the males and females grow antlers. In fact, they're the only members of the deer family to do so. Recently, caribou populations have been in decline due to large-scale habitat loss. Coming up on our right is our great horned owls, Dumbledore and Bubo. Great horned owls are sometimes called the tigers of the sky for their ferocity, and they are the heaviest owl in North America. Along this path to our right, you'll see a long row of trees. These are bur oak trees, and they're what gives a forestry farm its forestry name, as they're originally grown to be sold to farmers across Canada to provide wind shelter for their crops. Speaking of trees, on our left, we have an edible orchard of crabapple and pear trees. Later in the season, you'll see many critters eating the fallen fruit. Across this field, up the hill there, and through the fence, you may see some black and white striped animals. Those are plain zebras. We have 3 zebras named Missy, Shadow, and Marty.
Saan banda yung zebra?
Finally, on our left, you'll see the Areno Fun Zone, where you can see young Homo sapiens at play. If you have any questions, I'd be really happy to answer them. But otherwise, thank you for riding the Kinsman Express 2 train. On behalf of the Saskatoon Zoo Society, Saskatoon Zoo Foundation, and the Kinsmen of Saskatoon, once again, thank you. Once we pull into the station, please wait for a complete stop, at which point the horn will sound, and you'll be free to exit.
You're like a star on the train.
Bug biting me.
Mosquito?
No, it's an ant.
Oh, the credit keeps baby. Where I'm gonna.
They were to take it out.
Baby. Bibi yung tomatos niya. Chinelas!
Let's go!
Bibi, paano i-end to?
Let's go!
I-text mo yung extra.